welcome back to the Shy Cricketers podcast. This will be our first main podcast of the season. I'm joined by Will Rickert today to look at the ODI Grand Final review and the Big Bash Round 1 and tournament preview. Hello, Will.
Hello, Matt. Hello, all the viewers.
First, let's have a look at the ODI Grand Final. Let's get straight into it. Will, why don't you go through what's happened up there?
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing, the shortened game. But not too many went well with the bat. Top score, was it 28? And, it was definitely a bowler's wicket.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. I think no one really put up a score. Burns and Harper failed at the top of the order. Same with Fitzgerald and Meta. That reduced game was definitely a disappointment considering the tournament went for about 4 months. Bowler's wicket, like you said. I think a good tournament all up. But yeah, definitely a disappointing final, especially with that reduced game. And there wasn't really a lot with the bat, a bit with the ball, and definitely not the most exciting grand final, I don't think, even though it went to a super over. Just quickly, I think they decided on a player of the year, Harris Sahale. We're going to be doing another podcast on the ODI review later, coming the next 2 weeks or so. So that's that. 4 months has wrapped up the grand final, the ODI World Cup now. Things will now be looking towards the Big Bash and the T20 World Cup later in the year. And the Big Bash has already started, actually. So let's just have a look at the round 1 preview. Let's get straight into it. So first off, the first game has been played. I think it was between Adelaide Strikers and the Hobart Hurricanes. Will, what was your prediction on that before it got played?
I predicted that it was going to be a Strikers win, and my prediction was correct.
Yeah, I think I predicted the same, actually. I think it was very interesting to see, considering last year we had scores of over 200 almost every few games, and this one was a very low scoring game. Definitely a spinner's wicket, in my opinion. I was watching the game, so why don't we go through it? Will Rickert.
Some bowlers really outstanding, especially Dan Fallons and also Bo Webster taking 6 for 17 out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was interesting, to be honest. I think Chris Jordan really failed, so they brought in Bo Webster. It was lucky they had that all-rounder in there. As I said, spinner's wicket. So they Adelaide ended up bowling about 11 overs of spin. Chris Morris didn't bowl his full 4, nor did Zahir Khan or Chris Jordan. Bo Webster 6 for 17. And the first wicket was actually taken on the third ball of tournament by Bhuvneshwar Kumar to dismiss Matthew Wade. Top score of 32 in that game by Peter Hanscom. James Vince stood there for a while. He actually scored more runs in that game than he did all season last year with 27, which is interesting. We move on to the Strikers. New team, Will. What do you think from them first up?
I think good stuff from the openers and first drop. Jake Fraser-McGurk, always good to see him get a score. And Alex Carey, almost kind of like back-to-back performances from the trial. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that trial match was definitely interesting. I think it was played on the same ground, but very different pitches, I think. And I think the trial match was about 2 weeks before that, because the spinners really took a hold of that. So in both innings, there was about 12 overs bowled to spin. and there was 6 wickets taken just alone. Definitely promising to see Jack Fraser McGurk at the top. He was on debut, which is good to see. He boasted 33. And he's a really explosive player, but he faced 31 balls for 33. What do you think about that, Will?
40 could have scored a bit faster, considering being in there for 30. That's quite a lot compared to everybody else batting.
I think they took a while, but I think they might have underestimated the pitch. They knew they were only chasing 121. And Fraser McGurk probably got a bit caught up. But I think after they lost Phil Salt, he really did the right thing there before being dismissed. And then Carey and John O'Wells did it from there. Dan Fallons with 4. Peter Siddle got in with 2 wickets. Majid came in with 2 and 1 for Jofra. Ashton Agar 9 for 23. So a good start there, I think. Definitely promising signs for both teams. Definitely a lot closer than I would have expected. Second game taking place Monday the 30th of March, which is today or possibly yesterday if you're watching this on Tuesday 31st. Darwin Destroyers versus Queensland Blue Bags. What's your take on it?
I believe that Darwin will win just because of the amazing trial they have. They got a promising lineup with some stars: Glenn Maxwell, overseas David Miller and Ben Stokes, and Harris Rofe. The 2 openers will be looking to score big most games. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm not predicting the Destroyers actually. I think it's probably going to be a really good game. My first thoughts were the Destroyers, and then I saw the lineup for Queensland. Tom Banton, he's definitely promising. Max Bryant coming off the back of a huge season in the BBL last year. And then Matt Henry, Mitchell Stark, and Mitchell Swepson, always reliable down there. So I think it'll be a real close one, actually. But for Darwin, definitely Josh Inglis, Glenn Maxwell, you pointed out, and Ben Stokes, Harris Roof also to watch out for. I think there was. I don't think there was really anyone that missed out in that lineup for both teams. I think David Miller could be a real problem, to be honest. I think he had a really poor ODI World Cup, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But yeah, my predictions on Queensland, and Will, I believe your predictions on Darwin.
Yes.
So we'll just go through that real quick. So Inglis, Livingston, Maxwell, Renshaw, Miller, Patterson, Ben Stokes, Brendan Doggett, Cameron Boyce, and Harris Roof. For Darwin and Queensland, Tom Banton, Caleb Dew on debut, Max Bryant, Moises Enriquez, AB, De Villiers, Ben McDermott, Ben Cutting, James Patterson, Matt Henry, Mitch Stark, and Mitchell Swepson. For the Queensland Blue Bags, AB De Villiers hopefully can get going in that game. Moving on to the game on, I think it's on Tuesday, 31st of March. Smashers versus Scorchers. I think it's a pretty easy tip here for both of us, don't you reckon, Will?
Yep. Has to be Scorchers.
Yeah, I'm going with the Scorchers as well. They're coming off a huge season in the BBL last year. I think Hales is going to play a huge part. Markram comes into the team, coming off the back of a huge tournament. Ravi Ashwin is another addition there. Trent Bolt, Joe Richardson, Chris Green. So a huge lineup there for Perth. I think Melbourne could be in a developing year. What do you reckon, Will?
Yeah, I have to agree. They do have some big names like Sam Harper, Harris Hale, Josh Hazelwood, Tom Curran, but some of them did lots in the World Cup, but others just didn't perform to the best.
Yeah, I think they've definitely got a good team. I think they probably need a few bigger players there. Um, both teams definitely have good players, but I just can't see Melbourne Smashers really getting anywhere this year.
I'll run
So
I'll run
just
through the
over,
lineups now. For the Melbourne
yeah,
Smashers, Aaron Finch, Sam Harper, Uzi Kawaja, Harris Hale, Dan Hughes, Jack O'Brien, Tom Curran, Sean Abbott, Dale Steen, Josh Hazelwood, Sandeep Lamashani. And for the Scorchers, Alex Hales and Aidan Markram at the top, Marnus Labuschagne and Joe Root, Travis Head, Jimmy Pearson at 6, Marcus Stoinis, Ravi Ashwin, Trent Bolt, Jai Richardson and Chris Green.
Moving on to the final game, is a big one. Sixers versus Thunder, possibly the biggest game of the tournament, in my opinion. The grand final rematch. Who's your prediction on this?
Gotta say Sixers, a tiny bit of bias, but I reckon they have a very good team and can back up my prediction.
Yeah, I agree there. I think both teams definitely have good teams. I think both teams are definitely capable of winning it again this year. Thunder, however, got the better of the Sixers last year, and they both have pretty similar teams this year. Um, so I think it could go either way. My predictions on the Thunder, especially that top order of Warner, Weatherall, Burns, and Fitzgerald at the top. So I think that could be a great game. If you want to follow that game ball by ball, the link is down below. You can catch all our games from all our series down there on Crick Clubs. It will be ball by ball. Also, watch our Instagram page and YouTube page for any notifications on upcoming games. So that'll definitely be those games will definitely be one to watch over the next few days. That's round one for now. We'll finally move into BBL Fantasy, which is a new thing for us this year. We currently have about 8 teams entered. If you want to join, the closing date will be tomorrow at about, I'd say about 3 p.m. Get your team in. If you need any help on that, just give us a DM at the Shy Cricketers on the Instagram. We'll do a full rundown on that along with the ODI World Cup preview. Next time, make sure you get your submission in. Let us know if you need any help with that. Will, thanks for joining us for the round one preview.
It's all good, anytime.
And we'll see you next week for the round two preview for the BBL. Thanks for watching.